Maybe we'll mix it.
We are on Daf Yud Zayin Amud Aleph. Take 17A3. We are on the top of the page. We just learned the last bit of of Rabbi Yehuda and his maidservant, how she was teaching this concept of the Fnei Iver about not hitting a child that's already grown up, because the child might hit you back, and then you cause them to do a sin. By the way, for a child to strike their father is a death penalty. Makeh aviv ve'imo mot yumat. And we've discussed this numerous times. If a person causes a parent to bleed, and there's halachot as well, even about a child that's a doctor who wants to give their father a shot, because if the site of the shot bleeds, cause their father to bleed, even though their intention was to heal. A surgeon is not supposed to perform surgery on their father for the same reason.
It's a father-kid item?
It's a father. It's
specific.
Yes, a son to the father. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So let's begin. The Gemara now continues on the sugya of nidui, nizifa, shamta, and herem. Resh Lakish have minnatar pardesa. Resh Lakish, he was mintar, he was guarding pardes, which means it can be an apple orchard usually, but a pardes means any kind of orchard. Atta hu gavra v'ka'achil te'eni. Some guy comes along, starts eating figs. All right. Rama bekala, Resh Lakish starts yelling. The guy not listening. Amar, today you just think the guy's wearing his AirPods. Amar lehevahu gavra b'shamta. Resh Lakish says, I'm yelling at this guy as a rabbi, and he's ignoring me, and he continues eating. He puts him in cherem. He gives him shamta. Amar he said to him, Adraba, lehevahu gavra b'shamta. You want me to be excommunicated? You should be excommunicated. Whoa. If I owed you money, if I owe you something, what do I owe you? I owe you money. You're putting me in excommunication? I owe you excommunication? Ata lebe midrasha. They came to the Bet Midrash. Amrule shelo nidui shelcha ena nidui. What he said is a proper excommunication. Shelcha ena nidui. When he put you in nidui, for putting him in nidui, not the right way, inappropriately, that's a legit claim.
Double nidui thing.
But your claim against him is not a claim.
Reish Lakish's claim against him for even the figs is not a claim.
Not a claim. Moed Kattan, Reish Lakish said, okay, so if his excommunication is landed, what do I got to do? They said, go to the guy and let him undo the what's it called? The nidui. Lo yadanale. Reish Lakish says, I have no idea who this guy is. He's a random fig stealer, Hada. He's picking up, he's the guy, he hit Dwayne Reed, now he's not showing figs. Right? The guy is, he's roaming. The guy's knocking off CVS's. Lo yadanale. I don't know who he is. Amrule, they said, Zil gabe nisi'ah. Go to the Nasi, the Nishrelach, that he should give you a permission. He should let you go. Tetanya, Nidu, Nidu. Let's say someone excommunicated him. The guy, he doesn't know who did the excommunication. Yani, you are now excommunicated. Boy. You know when they have the sketch voice on the item? He doesn't know who did the Nidui. Yelech etzel Nasi. He should go to the Nasi, Viatilo Niduyav. And he, the Nasi, will be able to undo the nidui. Now, what do you think the logic is? What do you think the logic is in going to the Nasi to undo the nidui? What's the logic?
A more legitimate, high level understanding.
Someone on a lower level can't undo the nidui, but someone on a higher level. Now, since you don't know who the guy is, maybe he's like a huge guy. Therefore, we make you go to the biggest guy. So if you went to the biggest guy, obviously this guy's underneath the guy. Exactly. All right? Gemara says, by the way, I have a question on this. 20 points to anyone who asks the question. And what are the points? It's like to show the points don't mean anything. Anyone know that show? What was that show? Whose line is it anyway? The points don't mean anything. 20 points. Yes, that's the later iteration. It was a show from a long, long time ago. Come on.
That's why we listed all the people. From the beginning. We list all the people that if you do this, you go to Cherim, and then they gave it. And I forgot what daf it's on.
I just want to know what is the question on this
which
last
one would
halakha.
Nasi?
Let him go to the Nasi, and the Nasi will remove it.
The lower guy could do a higher guy. Can a lower guy put the higher guy? A lower guy than Rish Lakish.
Here, evidently, the guy was less than Resh Lakish.
Yeah.
But still, the Nidui counts.
What's Rish Lakish?
So why did they make him go to the Nasi? What do we say?
Because he's the highest.
Because he's the highest.
Right.
Come on. I'd be very shocked. I'd be pleasantly surprised if anyone got this.
Oh, so they're all set up.
No, it's a very high expectation.
I don't understand the question. Why are we going to...
How could you not understand the question if I said, ask me a question? We just learned you should go to the Nasi because the Nasi is bigger than everybody. So therefore, the guy would have to be lower than the Nasi.
How would that guy know the Nasi?
He wouldn't. But he's lower than the Nasi because the Nasi is the top head honcho.
Yeah.
Okay? Huh? So if that's the case, so he definitely is going to able to be lower, under the Nidui. So the question is,
He's not so.
what's the question?
He's not so bad. He wasn't that.
But he's less than the Nasi.
Less than the Nasi, though. Yeah.
And that's the fail-safe here, because whoever he is, he's less than a Nasi. Except for the fact that we just learned about the conversation that happens between the Nasi and the rabbi who sat in front of the Nasi, who was bigger than the Nasi, and Shmuel. So you see that there are times when the Nasi is not bigger than the other guy. Remember, he was busy with the case. He left and he was thinking about what was going on. Shmuel was walking behind him. He got upset with him. The guy accepted Nizifah himself on Daf Tet Zayin Amud Bet 16b2.
Because he didn't realize the guy. He was a wise guy.
So, and he dug out the ground and he sat on the reeds. So that means that the Nasi is not always highest Aigay.
Would it be with David and Ira also? The rabbi to David?
But is he higher?
Not necessarily, because we don't know if the rabbi was maintained his level.
Does he have to be the highest or just higher?
So what I said was that the Gemara is telling you that we don't know who he is. But go to the Nasi, because that's the failsafe. No one's higher than the Nasi.
Except that there is...
Except that we had a Gemara where it was.
There was.
Yeah. Okay? Now, the Gemara continues.
So if the Nasi releases him, it's not valid.
So
Because
I'm asking,
there could be.
there could be, and in that case,
the wrong
maybe it's not
premise
enough.
you're giving us.
But is it necessary to go higher than the Nasi?
So,
Because it's enough. He's just higher than him.
so then they should have just said anyone higher than him. And if the guy's a fig stealer, I don't think you need to go to the flipping Nasi.
Go to the Chadam.
You go to anybody. You could go to an honest fig eater.
Yeah.
You could turn to any random person in the street, and the guy would be bigger. Okay.
There has to be a road.
Yep. Let's continue.
They throw around this thing very loosely.
What, the Nidui?
It's like every guy walks in the street,
Yeah,
says
why
hello
is
to the
it
guy.
old? Why-
In
yeah,
your 30
of course
days
I-
in
I was
jail.
thinking the same
You
thing.
go to jail, direct to jail.
No, you go to jail.
Yeah, that's it. It's unbelievable.
I double down your job.
Yeah. So it's a good question.
It's too loose. This thing.
No, but let me add to the question. When you have a nidui from a from a Talmid Chacham, I understand. The guy's a fig stealer. Who cares about his nidui? Why did he have to then go get it undone by the Nasi? Yeah, it's a strange
By the
thing.
way, we assume the fig stealer is Jewish.
Huh?
We assume the fig stealer is...
Because that shows the word, how
Right?
strong words are.
We
We
assume all
learned
that.
before how important you have to be with how careful you have to be with what you say and what you do. This shows how the power of the words.
Yeah, but can someone do that who doesn't have the right to do so?
It looks like it.
I think that there's something else here that we're missing. What are we missing? We're missing one thing, okay? The Gemara is a little bit, maybe perhaps, misleading. Here. One second here, let me find it.
You gotta go to Bavil. You only get one day. Right, John?
Yeah.
John, one day in that Bavil. These guys are hanging in the
shouldn't leave
neighborhood.
1-7-30.
Stay in your hood, you get one day.
Okay, I want you to look for 1 second at the end of Tosafot. See Tosafot Nidui? Tosafot Nidui. You got it? Everyone see it right here? Ubishem Rabbeinu Tam Shamati. In the name of Rabbeinu Tam did I hear an explanation. Shayu Regilin Beoto Makom. In that place, they used to Ochlin Be'ilanot, they would eat in the trees, Venoten Damim. And they would then pay later. So this guy is not a fig stealer. He just ate a fig.
He's eating on credit.
He's eating on credit. Happens, happy to pay. He's gonna pay. Not only that, it's the custom of the area that it's like Amazon Go, Yani. Amazon Rainforest Go. You take the item, you eat it, you pay later.
So giving him the benefit.
Ve'ashta lo hayu overim ala gezel. So he wasn't even over on gezela.
Jump to conclusion too.
So this answers the other question
The other
first
guy
of all.
was too quick.
First question I asked was, anyone's bigger than this guy? Guy's a ganav. The answer is no, he's not a ganav. In fact, for all we know, he could have been a Tamil Chacham.
Just tell you.
We have no way of knowing who he was. That's why we had to go to the Nasi. Since we have no way of knowing who he is, and now we figured out that the minhag hamakom is to allow people to eat from your tree and then they'll pay you later. So now he could be anybody. Now we have to go to the Nasi.
So the Nasi is more clarification.
Yes. So now also we answer why. Who cares about the nidui of a criminal? Answer is
He's not
not-
a criminal.
He, or either that or he's a smooth criminal. But he's not. He's not a regular criminal. Number one. Number two.
How would
Number
you know
two.
that from-
There's another way of looking at it. Sorry.
How would you know that from the Tosafot? He's
All Tosafot does
leaning.
is he changes the context.
Can he be wrong with the facts though?
Rabbeinu Tam is explaining that that's why the Gemara is working this way. I don't want to get into the whole Tosafot.
I mean, yeah. Okay.
Rabbeinu Tam is explaining that the scenario here was such that he was allowed to do so, which therefore means that he's not a ganav. Okay?
It's a fact. We're taking that as a fact. That
It's a good question. It might have been his field.
we're ta-
Why do I think it's his field?
Couldn't be his field because then
Well,
he would
you
know they
know
would
the
on
local
credit.
custom.
It's a good question. You should know the custom. Maybe he just bought the field. You know why I like the fact that it's his field? Because what did the ganav say? I owed you money. Why would he? He didn't own
Could be
it.
his field.
Unless the ganav didn't know the Resh Lakish, didn't own the field. But Resh Lakish didn't own the field because he didn't know the Minhag HaMakom.
Reish Lakish was a thief.
a lot of
though.
aggravation.
In the
A lot of
previous
aggravation
life.
Just for a fig.
Oh, that's for
A little too much. I think we're getting too low in the level.
Yeah, Joey wants to know, what's the vig on the fig? Here's the answer. Ready for this? Here's the answer. It's entirely possible that the reason why there's a nidui here has nothing to do with the guy himself, but rather, what the guy was saying is that the punishment for putting a nidui inappropriately is itself nidui.
Oh, you're saying that's why it got back.
Not because he said it.
Right.
Not because he's valid. Not because you have to worry about what a person says. Not because he's a ganav or he's not a ganav.
False niduis.
False
Create
nidui, punishment is nidui. Why? Because people are getting a little out of hand with the niduis. So what's the punishment? What's the fail-safe for the fail-safe? You, if your nidui was not legit, you become a nidui. So it's actually not about the other guy. The guy could be a thief, could not be a thief. But Resh Lakish, if the halacha does not say that a ganav gets put in nidui, right? Let's say you stole something from me today, right now. Are you in nidui? No. Why would I be employing nidui? In fact, all the commentators say, the guy was saying, you want to take me to court, take me to court. Why are you imposing, this whole curse on me? I can't interact with people. Yeah, clear? Okay, let's move on.
stealing or for
Not listening.
disrespecting Reish Lakish?
Rish Lakish put on nidui from him because he yelled at him stop and he didn't stop.
Okay.
Okay, but that's also not
When
nidui.
nidui is automatically in effect when a guy just tells a guy you're nidui if he's a little higher.
When he's a talmid chacham, yeah.
This is like.
It's a self-decree. It's a little. Jury,
No, why is
built
they
without a jury? Like just.
Yeah, because it's not. Remember,
It's a light
it's
item.
not a ruling. It's not a ruling. It's that when a person acts in a way which is disrespectful to a talmid chacham, there's ramifications. Now the talmid chacham could forgive, but if he doesn't, then that's the concept of
He has the
nizifa.
right to put him in.
Of nizifa. Nidui is a higher level than nizifa. Nizifa is if he gets upset, you're already in nizifa. He doesn't even have to say anything. Like we learned that. Remember all those
Nizifa
cases?
still did.
He saw from here that Rebbe's feelings were hurt. Rebbe didn't even have to say anything.
They're still serious. 30 days.
That's nizifa. It's a self level of nizifa. But nidui is where the guy says it. Here, he said shamta. He put like a shamta on him. And the guy said, correctly, this is not a shamta avera. And what did that result in? That resulted in the shamta going back, so to speak, on Reish Lakish. So what's
There's
up?
a parallel to Adam Zilman?
No, in what way?
That which you proposed to do to him and actually did to him.
No, because it's not It's not in retribution.
The punishment for wrongly putting someone in nidui is you receive nidui yourself. The punishment for wrongly accusing the guy of murder is that you yourself get killed.
Parallelism. They're not, in no way are they parallel. The halacha of Edim Zomimim is a halacha that says what you try to do to somebody else, whatever it might be, that we're going to give you that and there's a trillion rules on Edim Zomimim. We went through the whole perek to learn them. There's no rules on this. This is a one-trick pony.
It's a one-to-one
Situation.
It's a one-trick pony. We imposed the knas on you, right? It's kind of like saying Edim Zomimim is the same as stealing. Because if I stole something, I have to give back that amount of money. So the same amount of money I tried to steal, I have to give back. Same as Edim Zomimim. The mechanism is the same, but the process and the hiyuv is completely different. One is a gzerat katuv, and the proof is it only is relevant if you don't succeed.
Yes.
What happens if I do succeed in the nidui?
Then you get upstairs.
No. In Edim Zomimim, if I do succeed, you get upstairs. In nidui, what if I put the guy in nidui? The guy goes to nidui. We find out a week later it wasn't correct. Would I get nidui? Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's only in Edim Zomimim we have the pasuk like you intended, but not kasher asa. Edim Zomimim is a massive chidush that is only in its lane. That's what I'm saying. The result will be the same, but the mechanism is not the same. There is no other mechanism that is the same as Edim Zomimim other than Edim Zomimim. It's a chidush. It's a one-time chidush. So much so that we tried. If you remember, the Gemara says, "Let's learn from Edim Zomimim." The Gemara says, "You can't learn nothing from Edim Zomimim." It's like a one and done. There is no. Yeah.
Talking about the parallel.
Yes,
All the other facts are different.
in the result, yes, in the result, but not in the mechanism. That's what I wanted
Mechanism
to.
is totally
Correct. That's what I wanted to illustrate.
There are
Yeah.
niduis, it's indicating, it's showing that there are like false niduis. They're in, they go out, and the guy shouldn't be in nidui.
This case.
Okay, so it's showing that it's a little.
Like what happens? What happens if the guy?
little loose.
What happens if the guy did not respond to Resh Lakish?
There wouldn't be any nidui.
No, he would be in nidui. In other words, the default would have been Resh Lakish would have said nidui. What would have happened? Some guy sees the guy, says, "Forget it, nidui." Tells everyone in the town, "I heard Resh Lakish put him in nidui." The guy didn't respond. If it wasn't challenged, it's not like a court case. No one has a gavel. The guy says it, and unless someone challenges it, it's just
They
done.
didn't challenge it, it's a nidui.
Correct.
So guilty till proven innocent.
It's not guilty because remember, it's not a ruling. It's something that you're keeping on yourself, and the people around you will keep on themselves. Because remember, what's the punishment for someone who doesn't stay far away from someone who's in nidui? He goes to eat with him, he drinks with him, he goes out to reserve cut with him. What's halakha? He also goes in nidui. So you understand it is a punishment which gets put on oneself, and that the community will put on the person. It does not involve a court. So if it had not been challenged, no one would have known that it wasn't legit. Got the point? Okay? And I think that's why they instituted this bounce back nidui, because they want to make sure that the chacham, when he says it, is very sure that it's right. Because otherwise, you know how embarrassing it is for the Chacham to be in Nidui? Horrible. Okay, let's continue. Gemara says, Amar Rav Huna said, Be'usha itkinu, in Usha they made a takana. Now, by the way, Usha is a very famous place. There's something called Takanat Usha. Anyone know what that is?
The Talmid Chacham doesn't know the Gemara.
What, sorry?
The Talmid Chacham should know the Gemara. What the story?
You better know the Gemara.
Then he went to have this issue.
Yeah.
He's a little.
What's Takanat Usha?
This thing.
What's Takanat Usha? The Gemara says many times around Shas. Be'usha hitkinu. In Usha they made the decree, so it was a place where they sat as a bet din and they passed laws. But one of the most famous laws is passed in Usha with regards to the way you split monetary. The way you split monetary splits between a husband and wife, and what she brings in and what he brings in, and those responsibilities. That's the what? Not milog, more of maaseh. Okay.
Right.
Like when she works and she brings in money to the marriage, where does that money go? Does it belong to her? Does he have to pay for her, but she gets to keep her own money? So how does it work? What is she allowed to say? Is she allowed to opt out of that? No, it's not about prenup. It's about work that she's doing while she's married. Because he has a responsibility to sustain her. So she's now going to do this work. She gets to keep her own money and he has to spend his money on her. How is that fair? So the answer is her money goes into the pot. Let's say she says, I'm the big earner over here. This guy, what is he? He's flipping burgers. I'd rather let him not sponsor me. I'll pay for myself. So that's part of this conversation of Usha. Either way, so be'usha etkinu. In Usha, they made a decree. Okay, the Sanhedrin got together. Av betin shesarach in minadin oto. You have an av betin, okay, and he turned off the beaten path. So what do? They don't put him in nidui. Ela omerlo, they say to him, he kaved v'shev betecha.
House arrest.
What do they call it? No, there's a name for it. There's a dishonorable discharge. Yeah? So here, it's like honorable discharge. Like, chavod, your home is waiting. Like, in other words, resign before you get fired. I want to see your resignation on my desk. Yeah, on Monday. Ya'ani, okay? He kaved v'shev betecha. Chazar v'sarach, what if the guy, after he already went home, he loses his position, but we gave it to him in an honorable way. We let him, what's it called? Yeah, shuffle off ride off into the sunset. If he does a mistake again, menadin oto mepeneh chilul Hashem. Then they put him in harem because of chilul Hashem. So the first time, it's a one-time mistake. We feel like it's a serious enough mistake. We don't have to humiliate him. He just can't be in this position. But it's clear he can't be in this position. Yeah? The second time, after it happened, after he left, and we didn't make a commotion, because of the chilul Hashem that the commotion would have made, right? Yeah. The second time already, we need to say, Menadim oto, we're putting you in Nidui.
But the Rav and Rav Yehuda's story get a warning?
What do you mean?
The story before.
If you remember, there were multiple rumors there, so it was likely that was a chazar v'sarach.
A rumor.
No, he said
to be a warning.
We talked about that. No, it was enough to be.
We talked about how there were numerous rumors going on around him, and over an extended period of time. To the point, and you know what the proof is? The Gemara clears over here that the first time, if you don't put him in cherem, it won't be a chilul Hashem. You see that from the Gemara. The Gemara is saying, and now the second time, if we don't put him in cherem, chilul Hashem. That means that the first time there was not a chilul Hashem, indicating that in that Gemara, where Rav Yehuda says it would have been a chilul Hashem, it was a second time or a second time equivalent. By the way, I also feel that the nature of the sin is also has to be taken into account. Like, let's say the guy, he didn't say Shalom Aleichem 3 times, he said it 2 times. Let's say the guy you know, he was drinking coffee, so he didn't do Anna.
Front page stuff for a judge.
Yeah,
You gotta be more.
because we're talking about something here where the person deserves to lose his position.
Av Beitin was one of the 71 of the Sanhedrins, or is lower?
He's part of the number.
Got it.
He's included in the full number of the Beitim. Okay, says the Gemara.
Something he did just violated his behavior in that position enough to get him in a little warning thing. Not
Yeah.
enough to lose his go to.
Correct. Okay, says
Then he
the
violates again.
No, again.
That's it.
Then that's it. Because at this point, our silence is complicity. All right? Okay, says the Gemara. Upliga de Resh Lakish. But this example, this halacha that we just learned, disagrees with what Resh Lakish says. Dabar Resh Lakish, Talmid Chacham shesarach, en min adin ufoto b'farhesia. You have a Talmid Chacham who sinned, we don't put him in cherem, excommunicate him openly. Shneimar v'chashalta ayom, v'chashal gam navi imecha alayla. Yeah, what's it called?
Doesn't that go against everything we just said about the story of Reish Lakish and the guy not being a thief?
Wait 1 minute. Kashalta kayom kashal gam navi imecha alayla. You know, kashalta means you stumbled, you tripped in the daytime, and also the navi. We're talking about a navi sheker over here. Navi, this fake navi also fell with you as if it's by night. Like in other words, you're tripping around in the dark. Kasehu kalayla. What it's trying to communicate is that if you have a leader that has made these mistakes, then the way that you cover him over is in the manner of night. You figure out a way to be able to get him out of a position of authority and whatever, but you don't raise the alarm bells and take out a front page, article in the whatever newspaper you happen to live in.
So in
Okay?
other words, at night mean quietly.
So the Gemara, yes. So Resh Lakish is saying that regardless, when it comes to a Talmid Chacham, the rebuking and the nidui is in quietly. Now I just want to point out, what does it say here? It says en menadin oto bifarhesia.
Not in public.
In public. What does that tell you that you do? You do put him in excommunication in private.
How do people know not to do within 4 feet of him?
That's the reason why we wouldn't want to do excommunication generally in private. But the point is, for the sake of this scenario, they'll do it in a private, in a quiet way, because kisahu laila. That's what Resh Lakish holds.
Someone comes in for a mod, are they liable?
No, because they don't know. It's only when the person is flaunting or not flaunting, breaking the thing. Yeah.
Is Reish Lakish ruling in his own case?
No.
Different
So
point.
that's really part of Jonah's question. Jonah's question, what do you mean? We just saw Reish Lakish. The answer over here is twofold. Number one, what did Reish Lakish say? En min nadin, we don't excommunicate publicly.
It has to be a
Here,
Beitin.
no rabbi did this.
Solo.
This guy who didn't do the right thing maybe did it. Number one. Number two, what we said was the second answer is that it's not happening because of him. Reish Lakish did it to himself. A unjust nidui is a boomerang nidui. So it's true in minadin. Guy did something wrong. We don't do it in public. We do it in private. But if the guy did a nidui on someone unjustly in public, it just boomerangs back to him. We don't have to put you in nidui. You did it to yourself. Okay? So that would be the answer to the conflict on Reish Lakish and Gemara. But the Gemara assumes that these two opinions are in contradistinction one to the other. Marzutra Chasida. Ki mehayav tzur ben Rabbanan shamta. Marzutra, this righteous Marzutra, when he would put a young rabbi in cherem, Baresha mishamit nafsheh. What did he do first? First, he put himself in cherem. Wild.
Not Shamta?
Put himself in shamta.
Shamta.
Cherem is a general term.
Oh, okay.
It means excommunication.
General, okay.
But all of them are forms of excommunication. Okay? He would put himself in shamta. The hadar mishamet ledideh. And then he would put the other person in shamta. Why? What's the reason? Why would he do that? Because he wanted to show the person, look, I'm not doing this lightly. I'm also putting myself in the same thing I'm putting you in. this hurts me more than it hurts you, okay? Because he's putting himself in Shamta. And that's how, that was his approach to doing this cherem on a Talmud Torah. Wait for the end of this genius. But when he got home at night, he would undo his own Shamta. Because who is allowed to undo a Shamta? You yourself. So every night when he got home, in order the guy could eat dinner with his wife, right? He could have a normal home life. He would undo his own. What would he do in the morning? V'hadar sharile lidideh. And then, no, the Gemara doesn't say. I was just as a joke in the morning, he puts the Shamta back, right? No. V'hadar sharile lidideh. And then once he would undo the the Shamta on himself, then he would undo as well the Shamta on the Torah scholar as well. So the Torah scholar should not go through the night with the Shamta on him. Okay, this is really connected to something else, and I'm just going to come back to it in 1 second after the Gemara does this last point on Mar Zutra. Just in case I forget it, remind me to tell you this the connection to this other point. Amar Rav Gidal Amar Rav Gidal said in the name of Rav Tamich Chacham minadeh le'atzmo u'mefeh le'atzmo. A Tamich Chacham is able to be minadeh himself and then take off his own nidui, exactly like we just learned. Gemara says, Amar Rav Papa. Rav Papa said, Tetili, let my sachar in Shamayim, let it come to me. Delo shamiti tzuba meramaran me'olam. I should get my reward in Olam Haba. You know why? It's coming to me. Because never did I put Shamta on a tzuba merabanan in my whole life. I never found a case where I had to do that of, of putting someone in cherem. That was a Tamich Chacham. Ela ki mechayev tzuba merabanan Shamta. But when there was a case that he was heche avid, right? What would he do? So now there's a scenario, Rav Papa, where you have to put him b'shamta. So you're priding yourself on the fact that you didn't do something you had to do? Gemara says, Kiha b'marava mimnu anigida t'tzum rabanan. On in Eretz Israel, what did they do? They would give the guy lashes instead of putting him in shamta. And Rav Papa followed the approach of the lashes because you could give the guy the lashes closed door over. No chilul Hashem, no walking around. What?
Double secret probation.
Double?
Secret, it's an animal house.
Okay, I don't know that. Does that mean when they beat him up? Okay, you'll explain to me later.
No.
What? It's not worth it. Okay, so they would give him the malkut, and then so that's what Rav Papa was saying as a matter of pride. He was saying, I hold like the opinion that that's what you should do. And really, what is he saying effectively? Why does he feel like he deserves his sachar?
He didn't embarrass anyone publicly.
More than that.
He only did it private.
More than that.
And he executed the judgment.
More than that.
What you're saying is good.
He administered the punishment that needed to come. But he avoided the chilul Hashem. Rav Papa is saying, what do we know? The biggest mitzvah, biggest avera is kiddush or chilul Hashem. So Rav Papa is saying, I deserve my reward in Gan Eden. You know why? Because even when I had to punish the Tamich Chacham, I avoided being mechalel Shem Shamayim Berabim. Chilul Hashem, chilul Torah.
But if the guy deserved it, it's not chilul.
Give him the whips. No, he's saying the chilul is, everybody else is talking that the rabbi is a ganav, the rabbi is a mamzer, the rabbi is a philanderer. So he was able to do it, but exactly.
He started doing it in a better, tasteful way. Is what he's saying. He did it in a much more tasteful way.
He avoided the chilul Hashem of the punishment of Shamta.
To answer your question,
Yeah.
all these little nuances that we're doing are all little cases that have all infinite. There's infinite different situations that could occur.
Yeah.
The Gemara is really dealing. It's like a short story. It's not really like learning. Each one is a separate little thing, with a different situation.
I want you to imagine it. I want you to imagine it a different way. Did you ever look in the Shulchan Aruch? Honest. Okay, no. So Shulchan Aruch. May I give you an example? Shulchan Aruch. You have a segment called Hilchot Matzah. You know, Siman des Seif Aleph. Seif Aleph is Chayav Adam leechol matzah bepesach. Bet. Amatzot tzrichim lihiyot shmura. Gimel. Do you understand? Each one of them is it's like, in the legal code. You have the code, this, and then this paragraph, this line. It's probably not the right word. We need Morris here.
It's lines and sublines, sub points.
I don't know the exact terminology, but there's like, when you're quoting it, there's a point, and then there's a sub point within that point. That's how it works. But where did they get them from? This is the Torah Sheba'al Peh that says, in the laws of Shamta, if you said you put the guy in cherem unjustly, you have to get it back. What are the laws of putting cherem on a Talmid Chacham? It has to be like this. It has to be like that. Better to do this. What does the Shulchan Aruch rule? Should you give the guy lashes? Should you not? Each one of the bits becomes I wasn't thinking about the law. I was thinking about the Constitution. That's what I was thinking about. This Constitution, amend this. This article, that amendment, exactly like that. That's what I meant. So in each one of these little stories is a line item in the construction of the laws of how to do it from beginning to end. Okay, let's continue.
So should somebody learn that if you want to do it in a private way with the lash, instead of giving the guy nidui, he would avoid the chilul Hashem? Is that a preferable way to give somebody the nidui versus all the other situations where the guy was put into nidui?
So you're asking a good question. But look, I want you to look over here. Look about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 lines on the bottom. You see the word right there, mimni? See that, mimni?
Yeah, mimni, got it.
Okay, you see the little letter above it? Chet. Where does that chet go? Chet goes over here. See? Up here. Maimon Sham Halacha Aleph Tu Shulchan Aruch Sham Seif Mem Bet. You know what that means? That means that this law of Rav Papa is sourced in Rambam, which means that we rule like it. So Joe asked the question, are you allowed to decide that I want to do the whips instead? The answer is no, you're not allowed to decide. We're going to rule on it, lahalacha. And we rule like Rav Papa. Okay? So that we choose the whipping above the nidui.
So that took over all this stuff.
Yeah. Now let's just finish this last.
So all this stuff was relevant at the time.
Okay. Well,
but now we're not there anymore.
We'll continue 17A4 next time.
So all this was relative at the time.
Rabbi lashes is
Rabbi, right?